Section 5. There was no resistance. Signy had not drawn her gun, although her hand was on it. Neither had Mazian or Kreshoff or Keu. Threat was for the troops, leveled rifles with the safeties off. They had fired one warning burst on the docks. Nothing since. They moved quickly, giving no time for thought in those who met them now. No hint that there was argument possible. And there were few who lingered to meet them at all these sections. Angelo Constantine had given orders, Signy reckoned. The only sensible course. They changed levels, up a ramp at the end of the main hall. Boots rang in complete vacancy, the sharp report of troops in their wake filing off to station themselves at the appointed line-of-sight intervals sent up other echoes. They passed from the emergency ramp to the area of station control. Troops moved in there too, under officers, lowered rifles, while other attachments headed down the side halls to invade other offices. No shooting. Not here. They kept moving down the center corridors, passed from cold steel and plastics to the sound-deadening matting, entered the hall of the bizarre wooden sculptures, whose eyes looked no less shocked now than before. And the human faces. The small group gathered in the anteroom of the council chambers were as round-eyed. Troopers swept through, pushed at the ornate doors to open them. The leaved doors swung to either side, and two troopers braced like statues facing inward, rifles leveled. The councilors inside, in a chamber far from filled, rose and faced the guns as Signy and Mazian and the others walked through. There was dignity in their posture, if not defiance. "Captain Mazian," said Angelo Constantine, "can I offer you to sit and talk this over with us? You and your captains." Mazian stood still a moment. Signy stood between him and Keu, Kreshoff on the other side, surveying faces. Not the full council, not by half. "We don't take that much of your time," Mazian said. "You asked us here, so we're here." No one had moved, not to sit, not to shift position. "We'd like an explanation," Constantine said, "of this operation." "Martial law," Mazian said, "for the duration of the emergency. And questions, direct questions, Mr. Constantine, regarding agreements you may have made with certain company agents, understandings with Union, and the flow of classified information to Union intelligence. Treason, Mr. Constantine." Blood left faces all about the room. "No such understandings," Constantine said. "No such understandings exist, Captain. This station is neutral. We are a company station, but we do not permit ourselves to be drawn into military action, all used as a base. And this militia you have scattered about you? Sometimes neutrality needs reinforcement, Captain. Captain Mallory herself warned us of random refugee flights. You claim ignorance that information was handed to Union by civilian company agents. You aren't party to any agreements, arrangements, or concessions which those agents may have made with the enemy." There was a moment of heavy silence. "We know of no such agreements. If there were any agreements to be made, Pell was not informed of them. And if we had been, we would have discouraged them." "You're informed now," Mazian said. "Information was passed, including code words and signals which jeopardize the security of this station. You've been handed to Union, Station Master, by the company. Earth is folding up its interests out here. You're one, we're another. We don't accept such a situation. Because of what's already been turned over, other stations have been lost. You're the border. With what forces we have, Pell is both necessary to us and tenable. Do you understand me?" You'll have our every cooperation, Constantine said. Access to your records. Every security problem should be weeded out and set under quarantine. Constantine's eyes shifted to Signy and back again. We've followed all of your procedures as outlined by Captain Mallory, meticulously. There'll be no section of this station, no record, no machine, no apartment, if need be, where my people don't have instant access. I would prefer to withdraw most of my forces and leave yours in charge, if we can have this clearly understood. That if there are security problems, if there are leaks, if a ship bolts from pattern out there, or if order breaks down in any particular, we have our own procedures, and they involve shooting. Is that clear? It is, Constantine said. Abundantly clear. My people will come and go at will, Mr. Constantine, and they'll shoot if they judge it necessary. And if we have to come in shooting to clear the way for one of ours, we will, every man and woman in the fleet. But that won't happen. Your own security will see to it, or your security with the help of ours. You tell me which way. Constantine's jaw clenched. So we are playing on both sides, Captain Mazian. We recognize your obligation to protect your forces and to protect this station. We will cooperate. We will expect cooperation from you. When I send a message hereafter, it goes through. Absolutely, Mazian said easily. He looked to right and left of him, moved finally, walked a space toward the doors while Signy and the others still faced council. Captain Cherryh, he said, you may discuss matters further with council. Captain Mallory, take the operations center. Captain Cherryh, check through security records and procedures. I want someone knowledgeable, Cherryh said. The security director will assist you, Constantine said. I'll call that order ahead. I also, Signy said, glancing at a familiar face at the central table. The younger Constantine. The young man's expression altered at that look, and the young woman by him reached a hand to his. Captain, he said. Damon Constantine. Yourself, if you will. You can be of help. Mazian left, taking a few of the escort with him, for a general tour of the area, or more than likely, further operations, the taking of other sections, like the Corps and its machinery. Jan Mayes, Australia's second-in-command, was on that delicate task. Cherryh drew back a chair at the council table, taking possession of it and the chamber. Cherryh followed Mazian out. Come on, Signy said, and the young Damon paused for a glance at his father, who was thin-lipped and upset at parting with the young woman at his side. They did not, Signy reckoned, think much of her company. She waited, then walked with him to the door where she gathered up two of her own troopers for escort, Kuhn and Decton. The command center, she directed Constantine, and he showed her out of the door with incongruous and natural courtesy, tending the way they had come in. Not a word from him. His face was set and hard. Your wife back there? Signy asked. She collected details on those of consequence. Who? My wife. Who? Aline Quinn. That startled her. Station family? The Quinns, off Estelle. Married me and stayed off her last run. She's lost. You know that. We know. Pity. Children, you two? It was a moment before he answered that one. On the way. Ah. The woman had been a little heavy. There are two of you Constantine boys, aren't there? I have a brother. Where is he? On down below. The expression was more and more anxious. There's nothing to worry about. I'm not worrying. She smiled, mocking him. Are your forces on down below too? He asked. She kept the smile, saying nothing. I recall you're from legal affairs. Yes. So you'd know quite a few of the comp accesses for personnel records, wouldn't you? He shot her a look that wasn't frightened, angry. She looked at the corridor ahead, where troops guarded the windowed complex of Central. We're assured your cooperation, she reminded him. Is it true that we were seated? She smiled still, reckoned the Constantines, if anyone, to have their wits about them, to know their value and that of Pell. Trust me, she said with irony. Command Central, a sign said, with an arrow pointing. Communications. Another, Blue 1, 010122. Those signs, she said, come down. Everywhere. Can't. And the color keys. The station is too confusing. Even residents could get lost. The halls mirror image, and without our color keys. So is my ship, Mr. Constantine. We don't mark corridors for intruders. We have children on this station. Without the colors, they can learn, she said, and the signs all come off. Station Central lay open before them, occupied by troops. Rifles swung anxiously as they entered, then recentered. She looked all about the command center, the row upon row of control consoles, the technicians and station officers who worked there. Troops visibly relaxed at her presence. Civs at their posts looked relieved as well. At that of young Constantine, she reckoned. For that purpose, she had brought him. It's all right, Signy said to the troops and the civs. We've reached an accommodation with the station master and the council. We're not evacuating Pell. The fleet is setting up a base here, one we're not going to give up. No way Union's coming in here. A murmur went among the civs, eyes meeting eyes with subdued looks of relief. From hostages, they were suddenly allies. The troops had grounded their rifles. Mallory, she heard whispered from point to point of the room. That's Mallory. In that tone, which was not love, nor was it disrespect. Show me about, she said to Damon Constantine. He walked about the control center with her, quietly named the posts, the personnel who filled them, many of whom she would remember. She was good at that when she wanted to be. She stopped a moment and looked about her at the screens, the rotating schematic down below, dotted with green and red points. Bases, she said. We've got several auxiliary sites, he said, trying to absorb and feed what you left us. Q? She saw the monitor on that section too, seething human mass battering at a sealed door. Smoke, debris. What do you do with them? You didn't give us that answer, he replied. Few took that tone with her. It amused her. She listened, looked about her at the grand complex, bank upon bank, boards with functions alien to those of a starship. This was commerce, and the maintenance of a centuries-old orbit, cataloging of goods and manufacture, of internal and on-world populations, native and human. A colony, busy with mundane life. She surveyed it with a slow intake of breath, a sense of ownership. This was what they had fought to keep alive. Com Central came through suddenly, an announcement from Council. Wish to assure station residents, said Angelo Constantine, with council chambers in the background, that no evacuation of this station will take place. The fleet is here for our protection. Their world. It only remained to put it in order.